to 190 Jake's racism or pride and what it means to us, you know what I mean? Like with the bolts, the tattoos, you know what I mean? And why we say it's a thing of pride, you know what I mean? Because it is. Um, First off, let me say what being solid is to me. And when I'm locked up or when I see another solid brother and I'm like, hey, that's a solid Wood, what's up, Wood? It's someone that's not gonna fold, you know what I mean? It's someone that's gonna be there for their race, you know what I mean? They don't have to have those tattoos. They don't have to have cracker bolts. They don't have to have any of that shit. Independent bolts, whatever you want to call them. It's just somebody that's gonna stand up for his race. That's a Wood, you know what I mean? It's not an affiliation, you know what I mean? It's not like, oh, you're a gang member now. Even though when I get locked up in county, they take pictures of me and they put me as a white supremacist. Even though that's not what I am. I'm this a Peckerwood, I'm a county Wood, you know what I mean? Um, but what the tattoos mean to me is my pride. That is exactly what it is. Like I got them everywhere, you know what I mean? And like automatically when people see the swastika, they're like, "Oh, that's bigotry. That's hate. That's a hate symbol," which isn't fucking true at all. You know what I mean? It's a symbol of the whites. You know what I mean? The Vikings use it as a sun wheel. The SS bolts or the cracker bolts, whatever you want to call them, those are sig ruins to our culture. It's us representing our culture. No matter how you want to look about it or dance around the subject, that's what it is to us. That's why we have Vikings on us. That's why we have Wood on us. It's just us showing pride in our culture. There's no difference than any other race doing it. You know what? Because when I get locked up out here, they have Native Americans in county. You know what I mean? And they have Dene pride. And they have paw prints. And they have feathers. That's no difference than me having a Viking symbol or a wolf paw print or two ravens for Odin. And there's no difference. You know what I mean? Just because the general society puts a label on it that we're white supremacists. So what does that make a Native American? Does that make the Native American a Native supremacist? Or I have a lot of people out here and they're my homies. I'm cool with them. There's brown priders out here, Chicano priders, and they have their symbols. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing. So you can call me a white prider. I'll call him a brown prider. But I'm not going to call him a brown supremacist or a Mexican supremacist. You feel me? There's no difference. It's just somebody trying to make it out to be hate when it's love. You know what I mean? It's ignorance. You know what I mean? To say that, oh, white people do this, so they are white supremacists. They are terrorists. You know what I mean? How am I a terrorist or how am I anything different than anyone else when I'm just showing love for my people? There's nothing bigotry about having pride in your race. I will never teach my children, I'll never teach any solid person to put their head down. You know what I mean? You have these Antifa motherfuckers. You have all these organizations against all the whites. You know what I mean? Like, oh, fucking hate symbols. So let's call his work and say that, oh, he's a white supremacist. I deal with this shit on a daily. I'm dealing with it right now. I deal with it at work. I deal with it everywhere I go. And there's things about my daughter. There's some things I'm just not going to say on here. You know what I mean? That's just no one's fucking business. But has it held me back out here? Yeah, in some ways it has. You know what I mean? It has definitely. And it's fucked up. Because I don't hate no one. I don't care what color are. You respect me, I'll respect you. Whether what color you are or not. Will I sit with you? Will I eat with you at a table? No. And either will those races. You know what I mean? Locked up in county or not. It's we as a race and other races, we tend to flock together. Whether it be in a jail setting or a prison setting. I see it even on the streets. You know what I mean? It's just our people. It's been like that since the beginning of time. You know what I mean? So for it to change or people to think, oh, let's just change it and we all roll together. I guess in some way I can understand it. The world is changing. People just but it never works. You know what I mean? Because say you 190 Jake, I don't know you personally or whatever, and you bang for the Bloods. You know what I mean? When you first started banging for them because you are white, did you have to put in more work? You know what I mean? Were you treated any differently for being white? You know what I mean? They probably seen you, oh, look at this cracker, look at this white boy. Cause I grew up like that, bro. Don't get me wrong. Like, even being a Wood, like, even from certain different white organizations, they'll call us Wiggers or anything like that. You know what I mean? A lot of them don't like Woods, and a lot of us don't get along with skinheads. And don't get me wrong, I do have skinhead brothers that are cool. You know what I mean? And there's some that just don't fall in line with that. They don't like it because they think we're Wiggers. Oh, you wear a flipped up bill, you wear a flat bill. You know what I mean? You don't wear boots and shit like that. You know what I mean? But things are even changing in times now with that. But I think you kind of understand what I'm saying. You know, like, I know Woods that are out in Texas that are from the hood. You know what I mean? And they're called Hood Woods. You know what I mean? Because they grew up in an area that's predominantly black. So they kind of speak that way. You know what I mean? Even I, in a certain sense, speak that way from where I'm from. But I grew up more around Mexicans. You know what I mean? I grew up around Brown Priders, Chicano Priders, and even in county jail. So I kind of sound like that, or maybe even dress a little bit like that. I know a lot of the California Woods, that's how they kind of are. You know what I mean? Plaid, baggy shorts, pulled up socks, you know, Vans, Converse, stuff like that, flipped up bills, you know, over their eyes. And that's just kind of how it is, you know. There's people, they put too much emphasis into it, you know what I mean? Like, I know Twisted Kid, like, I went through his comments on his and kind of looked at what people say about him. And being out in Florida, you know what I mean? They're just like, oh, you're a weird, why you talk like that? It's like, that's dumb, bro. That's just where like, don't fucking judge someone from where they're from. That's not something they get to choose. There's no fashion. There ain't no like, oh, you're gonna dress like this if you're a solid white boy and you're gonna fucking act like this. No, that's not how the world works. You know what I mean? There's always gonna be, that's why I like being a Wood, you know what I mean? Because it ain't like that, you know what I mean? It's not like this ain't a style, this is a way of life, you know what I mean? Being solid is a way of life. And there's a lot of people out there that are gonna say they're solid and be like, oh, I got bolts. I know people that have bolts that aren't solid. I know people that swastikas that are dirtbags, you know what I mean? They're pieces of shit. You know what I mean? Like, this hands down. But the thing that I have a problem with is, even in my life, it's like people judge me like, oh, you have those bolts, or you have those runes on you, or you have 5150 and all this shit. And they automatically, oh, he's a bad person, white supremacist. Or people flock to me and they're just like, damn, he is solid. Fuck yeah, he puts up for his. Because I don't get scared of nothing. You know what I mean? You feel me? Like, I'll take off my shirt in front of a colored person and be like, what's up, dude? And like, I'll even have them even in my neighborhood. You know what I mean? I'll take off my shirt anytime I move into the neighborhood that I'm in. And they'll just automatically come to me, what up, dog? You from county? Or where do I know you from? It's like, people put too much emphasis in it. They watch too much Gangland. They watch way too much fucking TV. And that's not what it is. You know what I mean? I've never been jumped. I've never fucking been like, oh, dude, you have a swastika, dog. Let's get it, dog. And if they did, I would. You know what I mean? I would educate them that. But there is a story I do have when, this is probably back in 2016. I got arrested on battery on a healthcare worker, and I was put on probation, and I ended up doing on and off 10 months in county. I almost went to prison, but anyways, it was before I had a lot of my ink. I had my oranges, because we wear oranges out here in county. I drew a swastika on the back of my fucking oranges. And there's a native cat, and he had a problem with it. And this is in a lower security pod. So he wasn't very educated in the politics, you know what I mean? He didn't understand that I was just showing pride. And he had a problem with it. And the natives at the time were at the bottom in this one, and we're at the top by the door. So he was like, oh, you're going to either have to lace up or roll out. and I already know what time it is. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not gonna I'm not gonna roll out. So I laced up and I got on my ball barkers and I went down there beforehand. I should have just fucking started smashing automatically, but I try to educate. I was like, look, bro, you have Danae Pride, you have fucking paw prints and all this shit. And I was like, then I can have my pride. And he didn't see it that way, and we banged. And he actually fucked me up a little bit. But you know what? At the end of it, we shook hands, and I drew that shit all over that pot. All over the tables, all over the fucking trays that we have. SWP, cracker bolts. And there is a difference in bolts, you know what I mean? But I'm not gonna put that on here. Um, I don't I don't feel comfortable putting that. There is a difference. And it does depend on where you're at, what kind of bolts you can have and what affiliation you can have on your body. And sometimes, yeah, you do have to earn some of those in a little bit of a different way in a family or an affiliation that you're in. But I'm not going to go there with that because that's for somebody. I'm not going to tell somebody about my life and the bolts I have and the reason why and explain what other bolts mean, because then that's putting other families and other affiliations where they don't need to be. That's no one's business. Unless you're in that life and unless you live that life, there's no reason to speak upon it, in my opinion. But that's just me. But yeah, you know what I mean? That's just my opinion, bro. And if you can get back, that'd be cool. You know what I mean? If you don't talk to me, that's cool too. But you wanted a response. I mean, I know I'm not a prison channel. I'm this a life after the streets. I've been to county jails, bro. I've never been to prison. Nothing like that. I've done a lot of county time around the states. I've actually been to Florida. When I hauled freight trains, I was in Jacksonville. I was in Ocala and Tallahassee or somewhere in Florida. I didn't really go down too much further into Florida, but I was going to gatherings out there for train riders, front gate. It's like a train gang thing, but yeah, that's the only time I was in Florida. But it is crazy, like, it's a culture shock even for me, because a lot of people don't understand, even me, you know, like, there's people in the South that are like, what the fuck, you wigger? But you know what I mean? I wasn't even used to, like, the cultures. Like, when I got locked up in Maine, bro, every white boy that I met seemed black to me. So it was kind of like what you're saying, you know, it threw me off. I didn't understand. You know what I mean? I got arrested in Portland, Maine, and I think I did 15 days, and I didn't understand it. Same with New Orleans. When I was locked up in New Orleans, and I'm white, you know what I mean? I'm all about that fucking life, you know what I mean? But when I seen someone act black, it threw me off at first, and I didn't understand it. And you know, like being through it, you know what I mean? I started to understand where the people are from, you know what I mean? Like Georgia's different, like different parts of Georgia. Like I've been locked up in Cobb County and Fulton County, Georgia. You know, it's different out there too, you know what I mean? Versus way southern Georgia, you know, or Savannah, Georgia. It depends on where you're from, bro, because, you know, like you can get someone in New Mexico that's a wood that might be a redneck, you know what I mean? But he's a wood, you know what I mean? And automatically I click with them no matter what, you know. But it throws people off a little. I know there's so many different ones of us solids that we're just all different, you know what I mean? You go to California, that's more my style, you know, SoCal, and that's a lot of where New Mexico gets their shit from, you know what I mean? The SRH, the D Gap, Conmount Kings, and that's what it is to us, you know what I mean? We adopt a lot of our stuff from the West Coast, and it's moved out here to the Southwest. Same with Arizona, you know what I mean? It's just, that's our area. But yeah, man, I thought I'd get up with you on that. And you know, each person might be different, have a different opinion, but that's mine, you know what I mean? And that's what it means to me to be solid, you know what I mean? To always have a brother's back, always willing to stand up. You know, fucking when you see a brother come into county jail and he doesn't have his whites, there should be nobody else giving him whites but his race. Like, I know when I was just in county, you know what I mean? You bring them to your woodpile, you know what I mean? Or the White House or the Cracker House. I don't know what you call it in Florida when they gather together. But out here, it's the woodpile or the White House. You know what I mean? And that's what everyone in the pod knows it as. And we have a corner just for us, and we have two tables that are ours. And that's just how it is. And I'm sure it's probably like that out there. You know what I mean? Like I said, I've never been to prison, just county jails. Um, but you always look out for your people. You would never let your people get jumped. You'll be the first one up. You know what I mean? That's what being solid is. You always have your people's back. And you know what? Like some people might be like, oh, that's racist as fuck. Oh, you only care about white people. It is what it is. You know what I mean? I'm not going to dance around it. If you want to call that bigotry or say that that's racist, then it is what it is. You know what I mean? I have my race's back in the end. But if another race, I will let their people deal with their people. You know what I mean? That's how it should be always. And that's how I believe that it is even out here. Even in the different neighborhoods you go to, you know what I mean? You look out for your people. There's even a segregation out here in San Juan County. Yeah, you know, I just don't see why people get so confused with this or what's so wrong with it. You know what I mean? You have your people's back, so what? I mean, it is different for you, I understand, because you're an affiliation that's different. Like, I'm not being an asshole, but you know, if I seen you, I'd be very confused that you're rolling with the Bloods when I'm white and you're white. You know what I mean? But it's just kind of confusing to me why you'd be like that. But that's why I am who I am and you are who you are. You know what I mean? I have no disrespect towards you and what you're a part of. It'd be cool to talk to you, but you know, that's up to you, man. But it's cool, and I am kind of glad you brought that up. You know what I mean? I think that's been on a lot of people's minds, and a lot of people that don't understand it. You know what I mean? They see the white boys with the Thor's hammers. You know what I mean? And there's Christian Woods. It's all a mix, bro. We're all in a mix. You know what I mean? And we're trying to get along with the skins, and the skins are trying to understand us now. You know what I mean? And out here in New Mexico, there ain't no skinheads really anymore. I know a couple old heads, but that's about it. It's this wood pile, you know what I mean? San Juan County Woods, and it's not a gang, you know what I mean? It's a street clique, you know what I mean? Or a county clique, whatever you want to call it, and where you're from, you know what I mean? I know Albuquerque Woods, and I know my brother's from Alamogordo. He's in Alamogordo right now, but he's got sent up to Santa Rosa. And that's probably a car that he's running out of the Alamogordo. My cousin, Marius, he's running in the northern car, so in prison. So it's about the same, you know what I mean? I think, unless you guys ain't ran like that in Florida, I don't know. Like, I've talking to a few Unforgiven out there, and they've always been solid, you know what I mean? They've always showed respect. And that's what it's all about when you're being solid, is your respect, bro. The way that you're conducting yourself, you know what I mean? Not being a piece of shit, not watching, oh, white boy, like, say, for instance, I come into county jail and I have no socks on, because you have to have white socks. And you have, like, 8 socks. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, bro, can you kick down a pair of socks till my whites come in? I'm waiting for my people to bring in my whites. Can you throw it down? And if you were to say no, that's someone that's not solid in my eyes. You know what I mean? Like, you should always have your people's back no matter what. Whether they're weak, whether they're fat, whatever, you know what I mean? Put them on work, you know? Make them work out. That was my thing in county. When I seen someone come in and they're weaker or ate up, I'd have them work out. I was like, let's get it, bro. Always trying to motivate my people, you know what I mean? Because even in there, people are preparing for war out here. Like the Native Americans, at around 2 o'clock, they're all up on the top tier. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Burpees. So I try to get my people. It's like, look, bro, come on, let's go. You know what I mean? Are you really not going to be ready? They're not doing that for no reason. They're preparing for war or to go to prison. And it's like, you got to be on your toes too, you know, at all times. You always got to be fucking ready. And that was my thing with solids, our white boys, you know what I mean? Trying to keep them on their toes, trying to always keep them ready, you know? Because that's what it is, especially new kids, you know what I mean? But things are different in New Mexico now. Now they have levels. Like I automatically have to go to medium high because of my age, my history, and what I am. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, bro. Like fuck yeah. I'm glad you kind of made that video. But here's a response to you, man. Stay up.